Hi guys, how are you? Hope you all are doing well, good and fine. You are all safe. And now, today we are going to continue the second chapter of History, 8th Standard, Part 2. Okay, now the second point is the next point is there the intellectual revolution in Europe. Okay, now how the revolution happened in the Europe, because you know it very well, the how people at that time, how people become aware about the education, and how become the revolution at that time is there. Intellectual revolution means due to the changes during the Renaissance. It means that a lot of changes, the biggest changes during the Renaissance period is there, and Europe proceed from medieval to modern age. And I think so it was the biggest revolution. Intellectual revolution took place in the same period. It means the Renaissance period. The society starts stepping out the past ignorance and blind faith. You know it very well. At that time, in the Renaissance period, there was the blind faith was there. What we can say, ignorance was there. A lot of rituals were there. The priest of the church, the pandit of the church, or the father of the church, they looked at all the people, you know it very well, because of the ignorance. They were taking advantages, you know it very well. Okay. The pre-established customs and traditions were there. The customs and traditions were there. Superstitions were there. Okay. Completely the pre-establishment customs and tradition came to scene from the critical point of view, and all these changes are addressed as intellectual revolution, and we gave further momentum to the scientific discoveries. You know it very well, when the people became educated, when the education took place there, instead of the blind faith, superstitions, all these things are there. Okay, so automatically the scientific discoveries were happened. Now the second point is that the revolution in political spheres. Now, what do you mean by revolution? What do you mean by revolution? Revolution means the biggest changes in a short period or a short time, and it happened in 18th to 19th century, so we can called as the age of revolution. Now in the early stage, the beginning of modern period, in Europe many political changes took place. During this period, there was a development of parliamentary democracy in England. There was a changes in form of cabinet system, you know it very well. Cabinet system in India, there is also the cabinet system is there. The a lot of ministers were there. The defense minister is there, the finance minister is there, a home minister. Ministers came together, that is the cabinet ministers are there, cabinet system is there. At that time, the Bill of Rights 1689 laid limitations on the power of the king. In that period, you know very well, the ruler was there, the king was there. But what happened? The Bill of Rights of the 1689 is there. The limitations of the power of the king, they completely limited there, they suppressed there. And the sovereignty of parliament was established. Okay. Now the next point is there, the American War of Independence. What do you mean by American War of, why it happened, American War, and how American won this war against the British, the England. Okay, now with the background of revolutionary development in Europe, it is equally important to think about the American War of Independence. What happened at that time? In that period, the England established 13 colonies on the east coast of America. 13 colonies were established by the England on the coast of the America. Okay, east coast of the America. Later, what happened? Later, English Parliament laid oppressive restrictions and taxes on these American colonies. It means they are exploited. they are exploited. They were exploited. Okay, and these people. So what happened? These people in America revolted against it. Whatever the exploitation is there, the taxes are there, the restrictions are there, were there. Okay, all these things. So the people in America revolted against it, and England declared war to suppress these colonies. And what happened? American colonies organized the army under the leadership of George Washington, and finally won against England. And America won this war against the England. And this event is known as American War of Independence. Okay. Now the second revolution is there, the French Revolution is there. French Revolution, in what period there is the in the 1789 AD, the people of France revolted against the uncontrolled and unjust monarchy and feudalism and established a republic. So French people, the people of France, the French people, they actually they against whatever the uncontrolled, unjust monarchy was there. Okay, now actually it was also the exploitation is there. Okay, and so they stand against this, and this event is known as French Revolution. The French Revolution gave the world three values, very important values. The French Revolution given to the world, that is liberty, equality, and fraternity. Okay, these three values are very important, and these three values given the. Now the next topic is industrialization. Industrial revolution. Now in the period of 18th century, there was a lot of technological innovations were there in Europe. There was production with the help of machines running on steam. The cottage industries were replaced by big factories, so that the age of machines began, and that is known as industrial revolution. Especially industrial revolution began in England and then spread in other parts of western countries. During this period, England enjoyed industrial prosperity and came to be described as world factory. Now the next topic is there, rise of capitalism. Now rise of capitalism. The some topics, some points are there. Especially capitalism, you know very well. Those who invest their money in the business or the industries called as the capitalist. And capitalism, rise of capitalism. The first of all, the first point in that topic is that with the discovery of new sea routes to the east, European traders started their trading. Second one is the many traders came together as it was not easy to carry trade single-handedly. Single-handedly they cannot trade. It was not easy. So this gave rise to many trading companies. So they came together and many companies were came there. Then what happened that to protect, the protection should be there. So some protection to the trade is there, was there. Trade with the east was very profitable. It was responsible for economic prosperity of the nations. The European rulers gave military protection and trade concession to these trading companies. Then how rise of capitalism is there? The profit from the trade was further used in the form of capital for trade and commerce. And this gave rise to capitalist economic system in Europe. The another point is there, the colonialism. Colonialism is there. What is colonialism? The exploitation of one country by another and making it to colony is called colonialism. Second point is, on the basis of economic and military strength, one country occupies another region and establishes its political supremacy. So, colonialism gave rise to imperialism. What is imperialism? The second next topic is there, the imperialism. A powerful country controls other undeveloped country by establishing overall domination. Their objectives of imperialism was there. What is to establish more and more new colonies. Imperialism's main objective is there to establish more and more colonies. So many European nations established their colonies in Asia and Africa. So at that time, the British East India Company was established there. There was a race to acquire trade monopoly in India among many European nations. You know it very well. A lot of European nations came there for trading in India especially. And so there was a, what we can say, the race was there to trade monopoly in India among the all European countries. The British established at that time, British East India Company in 1600 AD. British was established there. Their company, East India Company, was there. And its objective was to trade with India and other Asian countries, not only the India, but the other countries also they included. That is, the East India Company was there. The company took permission from Emperor Jahangir and established factory at Surat. The next point is there, the British-French struggle is there. What happened in that? The rivalry increased between England and France for trade in India. The struggle between them, India and France, only for trading in India. Due to this, 3 wars were fought between England and France, known as Carnatic Wars. In the Third Carnatic War, England finally defeated France. And after this, there was no strong European competitor left in India except the England. The next topic is there, the next point is there, the Battle of Plassey. The officers, the foundation of rule of India Company in Bengal. What happened? The Battle of Plassey was there first. The officers of company misused the trade concessions and carried out a fortification of the factory at Kolkata without obtaining the permission of Siraj ud Dawla, the Nawab of Bengal. Who was the Nawab of Bengal? Siraj ud Dawla was there. Siraj ud Dawla captured the factory at Kolkata. Then this created discontent in England, leading to Battle of Plassey in 1757 AD. Robert Clive diplomatically bribed Mir Jafar, the commander of Nawab army. Mir Jafar was the commander of army. He promised Mir Jafar to make him Nawab of Bengal. England promised Mir Jafar to make him Nawab of Bengal. Mir Jafar remained inactive during the war. What happened? You know it very well. When England or the Robert Clive promised Mir Jafar to make him the Nawab of Bengal, then Mir Jafar remained inactive during the war. He was not participated in that war. So the British won the battle by treachery and deceit. Mir Jafar became Nawab of Bengal with the British support. At last, Mir Jafar became Nawab of Bengal with the support of British or the British support. Then the another battle was there. The Battle of Buxar is there. When Mir Jafar opposed the British, Mir Jafar was opposed the British. He was replaced by his son-in-law Mir Qasim. British brought back Mir Jafar when Mir Qasim tried to check their illegal trade practices. Then Mir Qasim, along with Siraj ud Dawla, the Nawab of Ayodhya, and the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam formed an alliance and undertook a joint campaign to restrain the British. This led to the Battle of Buxar in 1764. The British won the battle, and by the Treaty of Allahabad, they secured the right to collect revenue in Bengal, and it led to the foundation of British rule in India. And now you know it very well. Over 150 years, the British government, the British ruled over the India is there. You know it very well. The next point is there, the British Mysore struggle. In that, Hyder Ali rebelled and took control of the state of Mysore. Hyder Ali. After his death, his son Tipu Sultan tried his best to fight against the British. At last, Tipu Sultan died in the Battle of Srirangapatna in 1799, and the Kingdom of Mysore came under the British rule is there. British control over Sindh. After that, British control over the Sindh. The British turned to their attention towards the northwest frontier to strengthen their power in India. The British feared that Russia might attack India through Afghanistan. So they decided to bring Afghanistan under their control to ensure safety of their empire. As all roads to Afghanistan passed through Sindh, realizing its strategic importance, the British captured Sindh in 1843. And the last point is there, the fall of Sikh power. At last, they turned to the Punjab, Chandigarh. After the death of Ranjit Singh, his minor son Dulip Singh succeeded as the ruler of the state of Punjab. Queen Jindan assumed the reign of administration on behalf of her minor son, taking advantages of her inability to control the officers. The British bribed some of their officers to their side. Thinking about the probability of a British attack on Punjab, the Sikh community launched an attack on them. And at last, what happened? You know it very well. The Sikh were defeated in the first Anglo-Sikh war. Sikh were defeated at last in the first Anglo-Sikh war. The growing influence the British led to the revolt of Mulraj, the chieftain of Multan. The British defeated the Sikhs in the Second Anglo-Sikh War and annexed their entire region of Punjab in 1849. Thank you, children.